watching a master at work.
Alright guys, so this video I'm going to be doing is just a quick short little video about S13 suspension for drifting. I've just been really busy, so I haven't put a video up, so I figured I'd do something that would help you guys with your drift settings and stuff that I've tried and stuff that I know that works and stuff that I know that doesn't work. So I'm just going to go over basically my S13. So the front, obviously I have caster adjustment on the top with these GK Tech offset strut tops, but if you can't adjust caster, just have regular coilovers, you can adjust the caster by your tension rod. Mine's a single piece LCA, obviously, like you can see, but you adjust this on your S chassis to adjust caster. There's a way you can adjust caster without a lacer alignment. I mean, you can do it. I wouldn't recommend you do it. It just takes a lot of time. It's pretty difficult, but you kind of have to know what you're doing if you're adjusting caster, you know, string-like or visually. It takes a lot of skill to do that. So my front suspension settings, I have 12 kilogram per millimeter of compression front springs with Fortunato 500 series coilovers. As you can see, they're great coilovers. I really love them. I have the spherical bearings up top so they don't bind. I run S14 outer tie rods with Maxima inners 06, and I have a sway bar, obviously GK Tech. The front setting that I run on my suspension is an 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch total toe out. Toe out in the front helps you initiate better for flick initiation. It just gives you better response in the steering wheel, and you know, that's basically a drift car is a well set up road race car if you think about it. The top tier FD guys do not set cars up to be loose. They set them up to be grippy because they have a lot of power. That's what I've done. I've applied that to this. I worked on a Pro 2 team, talked to a lot of guys, and you know, kind of gotten their settings for lower level competition on different cars. So obviously geometry is basic on and depending on your car. S13 is really simple because there's a lot of aftermarket parts, but a lot of you guys put stuff on there and you don't know what it is and you don't know what it does, and you just do that because someone said something. Well, I'm going to tell you that my settings are my preference. Mine are mathematically calculated. The 12 kilogram front spring, each kilogram is equal to 56 pounds per inch of compression. I did that calibration based on the base weight of the JZ, which is around 500 pounds with the W58. I added 50 pounds just due to the Z-trans and all of the rotational mass. It's probably a little bit off, but it's a good, you know, number. I already had the spring rate chosen before I did the Z-trans. And basically with the S13, the front ratio, you want to be 20 to 50% stiffer than the rear. So also, don't take your sway bars out. They're there for a reason. They help correct and stabilize the whole car with overall roll center and you know, center of gravity and stiffness. If you take your sway bar off because you don't have enough clearance for angle, that's BS. I have 70 degrees of angle with a sway bar. Get the GK Tech sway bar or fabricate your own Speedway Engineering bars or whatever. But S13 has a lot of bolt-on options to where you don't have to fabricate anything, which is why I bought this chassis. It's one of my favorite chassis because it's so simple, it's cheap, and they're competitive. Obviously, they're still used in FD today, and I mean, this car's a 1989. So Nissan did something right with this, the McPherson independent suspension setup on this. On the rear, I have my suspension is a welded diff with a Suspension Techniques 30 mil rear sway bar with poly end links, and then I have ISR arms, toe, camber, and traction, and then stock lower control arms. The suspension bushings are stance subframe riser bushings, solid bushings. So they push the subframe up closer to the unibody, and then you don't have to, you have to cut them out and drill them and stuff, and seat them in with a hammer. I do have the Fortunato 500 still on the back with 5 kilogram rear spring rates and a GK Tech drop knuckle for better anti-squat and toe under compression. So to explain that, everyone says that rear drop knuckles are created equally, and they are not. The thing I love about GK Tech is a suspension dyno with bump steer curves and toe gain curves, and they show you and they give you the engineering data on a graph. A lot of people are like, oh, my PBM or oh, my blah 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 is a drop knuckle. Yeah, cool, but how do they design that? Is it cast? Is it welded? Is it on a jig? Is it CNC'd? The version that I got is the plated and hand welded, handmade rear drop knuckle, and it works really good. It's really strong. I like, the thing I would choose is if they can make a knuckle that's cast, but not out of, porous metal like aluminum. I don't like those. This is steel, which is strong. I just don't like the cast aluminum like PBM does. It's cool, but it's porous. You can see it in the finish. I guarantee you they're outsourced to China, and just like if they break, you spend $300-400 for a cast piece of Chinese aluminum, for a drop knuckle. So like if I'm going to be spending $300-400 for a set of knuckles on a 25-year-old car, it better be good. So that's why I went with the GK Tech stuff. You don't have to do GK Tech, just do stuff that has good, R&D behind it. Like the only reason I did that is because at the time when I was buying parts, that company had the best R&D in my opinion for this chassis. There's other companies out there, but those other companies are more expensive. So price per benefit, that's what I did. So the 5 kilogram rear spring rate, the 240 balance is right around 55 front, 45 rear last time I checked on the Nissan's, FSM. Obviously the JZ in the front makes it a lot heavier I should say. So I compensated with spring balance, sway bar balance, and then counteracted that with the rear soft springs and a stiffer sway bar. You can adjust your rear grip with spring rates or sway bar adjustments. You get a 3-prong adjustable rear sway bar. I don't have that, so I use mine with dampening. It's kind of a cheap way to guarantee adjustment. But the correct way to do it is with adjustable bars and also adjustable springs. Like you take the springs out, put new ones in. That's what FD teams do. Also alignment settings. For the tracks in Colorado, I have 1 degree of negative camber on this one, 0 degrees on the other one, and 0 total toe out or toe in. Just 0 total toe. And 8-inch traction arm length, which is the factory length. If you increase your traction arm length, it decreases toe in under compression, which is fine, but it makes it really snappy. My toe out or toe in the rear 0 total toe is really good for low power. When I had stock 1J, it was great. But driving this new setup more and more, I found that its snap initiates really quick, which is what 0 toe does in the rear. So I'm going to go to the 8-inch total toe in the rear. And I feel like that'll help stabilize a little bit better. Rear toe in helps keep stability under drift and helps give you forward bite instead of side bite. Camber gives you side bite in the rear. Obviously under compression, unless you have a drop knuckle like me, your rear factory knuckle toes in. Toe in is bad because it gives you uneven tire wear and also makes the car really twitchy when you let up on the throttle. So when you let off, it's really prone to straightening quickly. So that's how a lot of people wreck into walls and do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just kind of do your suspension settings at a good base. Tire pressure, good starting pressure would be 30 psi cold. In the front I run 30 psi. In the rear, I run 20 psi. Cold, obviously, mounting pressure. In the rear, it's been a little grippy, so I've upped the dampening a little bit. It was still a little bit too grippy, so I'm going to up the base pressure to around 23 to 25 psi. Also, my tire compound is variable, so it's kind of difficult to maintain grip levels when you're switching tires. But I don't have a choice because I buy whatever I can afford, and normally it's the cheapest tires I can get. You know, Nankings, Milestars, it goes back and forth depending on what deals you have going on. So, hopefully this isn't too much of a ramble, but this is a really serious video as far as like, you know, settings and stuff. And my car works really good. I just need to learn how to drive better. I'm not consistent. I'm not a consistent driver. I'm really aggressive to the point where I'm not consistent. I get really anxious, really easy, overthink stuff and mess up. It's just my lack of experience because I don't drift continuously at a time. I've done it for a long time, I just don't do it continuously. And the thing about getting comfortable is seat time. So, the thing about this car is it creates a lot of expense. It may look like, you know, it's cheap as far as like, you know, all the parts that I've done. You've seen my build, like eBay manifolds, stuff like that, homemade stuff, mostly welded, and you know, just all that stuff. Stock ECU and injectors, but honestly, it's probably 3 to 330 horse to the wheels, and that doesn't seem like a lot, but man, when you're drifting and you have a competitive setup like I have set up based on like FD cars and lateral motion and, you know, kingpin inclination, steering axis inclination, all that stuff, it definitely likes to eat tires. So grip equals death to tires. If you like having fun on a cheap budget, I honestly would recommend not doing a drop knuckle, because a drop knuckle increases your suspension geometry kinematics, reduces towing, which in turn increases grip. Every single person in competitive drifting, not one of them has a factory knuckle on the car, in the rear or the front. So, you know, if you're out there to go have fun and chill and just have seat time with your buddies, and you don't have like a super nice car, or you're not worried about how your car looks or if it gets banged up, don't do aftermarket rear drop knuckles. The cheap base way to set it up is stock knuckles, coilovers, a reliable engine setup, and seat time. You know, 225s to 245s, depending on what you can get cheap, are the best size tires to start with. Obviously this car is really basic. Also get camber arms if you're going to lower your car crazy, because that also helps increase length of duration of tires. So I'm going to be getting this thing hopefully Jay-Z swapped again in the next year, I would say. I know that's a long time, it seems like, to most of you guys, but just a lot of money, you know. Got a lot of stuff going on. I'm getting married in October, so it's just, there's a lot of stuff that I enjoy doing, but it's really hard to do, especially when you don't really have drifting as the #1 priority in life. Like, I have to pay my mortgage, I have to pay my bills and stuff first. So all of this extra stuff, like me selling stickers and parts and whatnot and making these videos, it's not to, you know, make money. It's to relieve expense of drifting and help others while I'm doing that, because I'm already doing this. Whether or not I had YouTube or not, I would be doing this anyways. This is just a good way to get out my thoughts and my knowledge and experience while remembering it, because I have a horrible memory, so. But I'm kind of rambling. I hope you guys like this video. It's more of a talkative video, so. I really do like talking about in-depth, crazy engineering stuff, which is why I talk to, you know, David and Trevor and a lot of the drift guys a lot. Is like, I don't know, that's just what piques my interest. You know, how stuff is set up and how to increase efficiency and reliability for cheap. It's squeezing every penny out of every dollar that you have. And I feel like I've accomplished that with this car. Also, in turn, thanks to Toyota and Yamaha with their amazing engineering of a 1J. And companies that create aftermarket parts that don't skimp on quality or engineering. So, If you like this video or have any questions of this video, drop a comment below, like the video, subscribe if you want to. If not, it's all good. I just appreciate you watching the video and supporting me doing what I'm doing, and hopefully I can give you guys some more information on help of any kind of thing. I should be doing a gauge install on the truck here pretty soon. Like I said, I do have those gauges here. I got a pyrometer and a boost gauge. I'm just kind of waiting for some parts to come in, some fittings. They're hard to find. But yeah, that should be getting done here in the next week or so. With work and stuff, it's kind of picking up. So it's really, really busy. Obviously, you guys know summer. But thanks for watching.